Hello, and welcome back to another LSBA battle. This week, our team, the Seattle Staraptors, will be fighting the New Guinea Goodras in the last week of the main season. So this is Season 8, Week 9. And this is actually, in a vacuum at least, our most important battle of the season. Because how it's shaken out is that, so this, as I mentioned, this is the last week of the main season, and so starting next week, the playoffs will be going with the top four teams from the main season in win-loss record and differential moving on to the postseason. So how it stands currently is my battle is one of the last battles to go on for week 9, but also, basically, depending on whether I win or lose tonight, depends, is the determining factor about whether or not I'm going to go into the playoffs. Because there's another team, the Po Town Poipoles, whose channel will be linked in the description below as always, who, if we lose, will have the same win-loss record as them, but they'll have a higher differential than us. But if we win, then we'll have a better win-loss record than them, and so we will move on. So it's exciting stuff. So we're gonna try our best. Hopefully we'll win. Maybe we won't, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so my opponent's actually waiting on me to battle, as I was doing some last minute team building today. So let's go ahead and just hop straight into the team review here so that I don't have to keep Taco waiting too long. So just to quickly run through both rosters, the Goodras have Mega Mawile, Ferrothorn, Volcanion, Heatran, Garchomp, Azumarill, Klefki, Togekiss, Espeon, Darmanitan, and Crawdont. And my team is still Dragapult, Tapu Lele, Weavile, Mega Medicham, Zapdos, Galarian, Rubombi, Nidoking, Incineroar, Azelf, Xurkitree, and Milotic. So the team that we're bringing today are these that are on screen right now, so let's quickly run through them. We're bringing Tapu Lele again with Expert Belt as a returning item. This is one that we've been running on her quite a bit this season. Psychic Surge, and so this Taco fight against the Goodras, their coach Taco, this is the team roster that like persuaded me to draft Tapu Lele round 2 actually. Because at the time they just had Mega Mawile, which has a really strong priority move in Sucker Punch, and so I was like, I don't want that. But as the draft went on, my opponent actually has several really strong priority users now. In addition to Mawile with Sucker Punch, there's also like Crawdont and Azumarill who both use Aqua Jet. So bringing Psychic Terrain is very important for us. For our moveset, we're only bringing Moonblast this week. We're not bringing Psychic Stab because it just doesn't really hit anything super effectively. Literally, actually, it doesn't hit anything super effectively on the opposing team. And even with the Psychic Terrain boost, hitting things neutrally with Psychic and the boost and the stab is like just as good as using any of these other attacks basically. So we got Moonblast, we got Thunderbolt, mostly to cover like the water types and Togekiss. We got Hidden Power Fire primarily for Ferrothorn. And then we've got Nature's Madness, basically just to try and hit things on the switch. Originally I had Focus Blast in that moveset, or move slot rather, because I was like, oh, he's got a lot of steel types, so we can just like blast him with a Focus Blast. But the problem with that kind of is that, like, the only steel type on my opponent's team that Focus Blast is super effective against, that HP Fire isn't, is Heatran. And like, I don't like using Focus Blast when I don't have to. It's low accuracy, and so it just gives me bad feels, especially in an important match like this. So I decided on Nature's Madness instead. That means that if Heatran switches in, we can't go toe-to-toe with it as Tapu Lele, but that does mean that if we think that something like Heatran or anything really might switch in, we don't know what it is, we can go for Nature's Madness, just chunk them for 50%. Against a team with this many bulky Pokemon, that's never going to be a bad option. Alright, moving on, we've got Mega Medicham. Again, my opponent has a lot of steel types, and they actually traded away both their Aegislash, which would have made Medicham a more dangerous bring, as well as Corviknight, which would have, I mean, Medicham can stack up fine against Corviknight, but obviously it's a flying type, so it takes its kicks better, and it also can threaten us back. But he doesn't have either of those on his roster anymore, so we're just going to try and hit him really hard where it hurts. We've got our same dual stab that we've been running almost every week, high jump kick, psycho cut. Ice Punch is our coverage of choice this week for Garchomp primarily, but it also hits like Togekiss, for example. And then we're going with Drain Punch over Fake Out or another coverage move, just because my opponent does have a defensive team and kind of a defensive playstyle. So where I'm going with that is that I wouldn't be surprised to see him running Protect on one or more Pokemon. And so if he protects into a high jump kick, Drain Punch gives us an option to get some of our HP back, basically. So we'll have to be careful, but that gives us a backup option. It's also like if we can kill something with Drain Punch, that way I don't have to click high jump kick necessarily, so it's just kind of a win-win as far as having a safety net there. We're bringing Ribombee over Azelf once again. We're running a really similar, if not identical, team set to last week. So basically, this is a fully supportive Ribombee. Defog is the most important thing on this set. I'm almost positive my opponent will try to set up multiple hazards and maybe even screens with the Espeon and or Klefki. So being able to defog stuff away is important to me this week. Aromatherapy in case we get any in case like Klefki paralyzes our Medicham or something, or just whatever the case may be. Aromatherapy does have some anti-synergy with Milotic's Marvel Scale, admittedly, but I think like preventing... I might make a last minute... Well, I don't know. What would I run over Aromatherapy though, right? Like, Bug isn't very good in this matchup. I guess I would run Moonblast if anything. But no, we're just gonna keep Aromatherapy. Just in case. Just in case, like, Medicham gets paralyzed or something. And then Sticky Web. Again, we're running Defog, so I care more about his stuff not being up on the field, but if we have an opportunity to set Sticky Web up, that'll slow some things like Garchomp and Espeon and potential Choice Scarfers down. So, yep, that's Ribombee, just very supportive and chill. Whoops. We're gonna try and run Circuitry again this week, but we're gonna run something similar to the Smogon recommended set, which is a Choice Scarf Cleaner. So ideally, we can come in and just get like a sweep on the back end if things like Ferrothorn and Garchomp are removed, but even if not, Circuitry has such high special attack that we can just come in and blast something really hard regardless. We have Thunderbolt for stab, Volt Switch for pivoting, Fire, HP Fire for Ferrothorn, and Dazzling Gleam for Garchomp, basically. Between this kit, we hit everything pretty well. Not much to say about this. Circuitry is just very strong, and his aim is just come in and hit things really hard. Kind of like Medicham, but specially oriented. We're busting Milotic out again this week. We're running a Marble Scale set. Just because my opponent doesn't have a lot of things that can proc competitive. Intimidate on like base Mawile is the only thing that I could think of consistently. And even then, since our league forces you to Mega Evolve the first turn that a Mega Pokemon uses a move on the field, you know, there's just limited room for that to happen. So we're gonna go Marble Scale instead. If we manage to catch like a Toxic or something and we haven't Aromatherapy, we get a defense boost. It is what it is. We got Scald for burning physical attackers. We've got HP Grass for the two water types, those being Azumarill and Crawdon. Flip turn for pivoting and recover, plus leftovers for just longevity, basically. And last but not least is Nidoking here. I was debating Incineroar in the slot just because of my opponent's multiple steel types on their team, as well as having several physical attackers as well, so Intimidate. But I decided that my opponent's team is so bulky that I'd rather go in offensively. So we're going to try and kill my opponent with ground type attacks instead of crippling them with fire, I guess. So Life Orb, Sheer Force, it's a classic combo. It's hard to go wrong with that. Dual Stab, those both hit a lot of things on my opponent's team hard. Flamethrower is once again for Ferrothorn. I know it seems like we have a lot of contingencies in place for Ferrothorn, but if we don't, that's a really hard mon to KO. So, better to be more prepared than less. And then Ice Beam is again mostly just for Garchomp. So, the last slot was again between Ice Beam or Thunderbolt. or I say again, but just to explain it briefly. I was thinking initially, like, Thunderbolt's good because my opponent has several water types as well as Togekiss. But then I realized that everything that I could hit with Thunderbolt, I can just hit with Sludge Wave and do enough damage, whereas Ice Beam, Oko's Garchomp, and everything else only does like 50 to 60% or something. So I decided that if we get Sticky Webs down and can outspeed Garchomp, Ice Beam is a nice option. Alrighty, that was too lengthy of an intro, I think, but that's alright. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording here, and we'll be back in a minute with the actual battle. Yeah. Alrighty, so here we are with the actual battle. Let me go ahead and just my camera there just a little bit. I went too far. Okay, there we go. So let's see, what did my opponent bring? They have Volcanion, Mega Mawile, Heatran, Ferrothorn, Garchomp, and Klefki. Okay, so what was I expecting to see? A lot of these things. I'm glad to see no Darmanitan, no Espeon. That means that my opponent's only really fast thing is Garchomp, pretty much. Let's see. They've got 4 of their steel types, so I feel good about Nidoking's involvement just in general here. Now I'm just trying to decide what I think my opponent will lead with. Klefki seems really obvious. Klefki does seem really obvious. So I'm trying to decide whether it seems worthwhile to lead Ribombee and just throw screens up right away, or if I want to try and come in later with that. Or not screens, Sticky Web rather. Azoth says, wait, when did Ronder get the jerk? Like several weeks ago. I think that was like a week 5 trade or something. Let's see. Like, honestly, real talk, if I lead Nidoking, like, I guess the bad lead matchup there would be Garchomp in that case. The Nidoking's not a good lead. Jerkatree's risky until Garchomp is gone. Like, week 5, I think. My low tick is our defensive backbone, kind of, so I don't want to lead that. So one thought that I have is that I could just lead Medicham and go for power straight out the gate. I guess, again, the sucky thing with that is if my opponent leads Garchomp, then it outspeeds and just murders us, which we don't like. I think we basically have to lead with Ribombee, honestly. Let's see what our opponent wants to do. They're going to lead with Volcanion. That's very interesting. Okay, so I'm not going to stay in. Gosh, are we gonna risk this being a Scarf Volcanion? What's its base speed? It's at 70. Man, I mean, U-turn should be really free here unless this is a Scarfed Volcanion. I guess if it is Scarfed and it goes for a fire move, we go into Jerkatree or something? I don't know. I'm just gonna click U-turn. Okay, it's not Scarfed. That's good. I don't think Jerkatree can really do anything to a Milotic. I could be wrong. Oh, but my Milotic can't really do anything to Jerkatree either. Yeah, this is already really bad. I guess I should have sacked Ribombee. We're going into Milotic. I don't think it can do anything to us. It's gonna Fire Blast us, that's fine. We can eat that up, easy peasy. I don't think this is gonna be a very good damage calc, but let's see what Milotic does to like Jerkatree here, or no, Volcanion here. Showdown usage, HP Grass will do like a little bit. Let's see, Fire Blast did like not that much. Did 25% to us. Is that what I'm expecting? Oh no, looks like this might be kind of a defensive, like this might be a little bit of a defensive Volcanion then. What about like timid? It might be like a timid, no special attack Volcanion or something. It's a little sketchy, but I guess I am just gonna click Hidden Power, because it has Water Absorb is the problem, so we can't click Scald or Flip Turn. We're too high HP for Recover, so I'm just gonna click Hidden Power here. We're faster than it, that's good to know. It's gonna Earth Power us, okay. That's fun. Like, honestly, do we see? It doesn't have leftovers. If Earth Power is the best it can do, I'm just gonna Hidden Power again. Okay, my opponent's going to run away here. That is a-okay with me. And we do see the leftovers on Klefki there. I mean, honestly, Flip Turn into Nidoking seems kind of okay. The problem is that this is probably going to start setting up screens in our face. But the thing is if it has a Steel attack, which it might, we can't just send Ribombee in freely on it. But at the same time, like, Nidoking just kind of shreds this thing, I think. Like, what wants to come in to take an Earthquake, or Earth Power even behind Light Screen? Not really anything. And although Milotic is really nice, I mean, it's kind of throwaway. I might Scald this just to see if we can get the burn and see what it wants to do. Or I could Recover. I'm just thinking, if we get our HP back up, then we can potentially, yeah, we can potentially use Milotic to a better effect later on. I'm gonna Recover, actually. It's gonna Spikes us, that's fine. This turn, I'll go ahead and Flip Turn into Nidoking. I hope my opponent doesn't call this and go back into Volcanion. Water Absorb would really ruin our day here. Although, I mean, realistically, like, we can 1v1 Volcanion pretty well. Okay, I guess this is like a hazard setter thing, because it doesn't seem to be setting up screens. I vastly prefer hazard setting to screens, just in general. I feel like the Earth Power is too obvious, and I wouldn't put it past my opponent, honestly, to have a Air Balloon Heatran. I'm gonna click Ice Beam as... Do I do that? This is a hard choice. So, like, if the Heatran is Air Balloon, that could come into it. Because, like, his whole team is weak to, his whole team is weak to ground. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, nothing can just take a Earth Power. Maybe this has Light Screen, though. I feel like it's too early in the match to be making crazy plays, or, like, calls, though. Let's go Earth Power. It's gonna Light Screen. Okay. That is great. We will take that every day of the week. You're gonna Reflect, or you're gonna go out to Air Balloon Heatran? This is the question. I mean, okay, and like the thing is, this is like meta knowledge, right? Because like Heatrans don't typically run Air Balloon, of course. But knowing Taco, I wouldn't. I think he's ran Air Balloon Heatran before, maybe even this season. And I think that's a thing that he's also ran in the past. But like, it would be irresponsible to click Ice Beam here, right? I think so. Because all that would do is pop the balloon. Okay, my opponent's just gonna go for dual screens. That is fine. That is fine. Okay, so first blood, Nidoking takes out Klefki. And that's actually great for us too, just because Klefki is really obnoxious. So that we stopped its shenanigan earlier rather than later is nice for us. The Nidoking takes out Klefki. Here's the Heatran. God, do you see Air Balloon when it comes out? Okay, I need to look this up really quick. I can't just... if a Pokemon has Air Balloon on Showdown, does it say so when it comes out? Air Balloon and Illusion. Okay, I'm sorry that this is taking so long. If you have a Pikachu with God. I mean, this is really risky just because Nidoking is so good. But I don't want to whiff a Earth Power and then... Zoroark lead with the Air Balloon does give the Air Balloon notification. Okay, so in that case I need to... Oops, I don't know what that pop-up is. Hopefully that didn't show up. I need to calc this. How much does Nidoking with Earth Power do to a fully specially defensive Heatran? Especially defensive, let's max that shit out. With light screen up. Doesn't do enough. Okay, that's all we really needed to know. So we're going back out into Milotic. I'm sure that from my opponent's perspective, that probably looked like an absurd amount of time to just think about going into Milotic like this, but it's important. This is an important battle. So I'm just gonna Scald here. We should be faster than Heatran, I think. Hold up, did I have speed investment? I have 100 speed. That's 223. What does Heatran hit? Oh, this hits a sketchy Heatran number. I'm gonna recover this turn just to see what my opponent wants to do. Okay, they're gonna send in Ferrothorn. That is perfectly fine. So the hard thing is that I just need to find a way to maneuver Ribombee in safely. And there's no good way to do that. Ferrothorn actually threatens most of my team pretty well. Like, I can't just send in Tapu Lele, it'll just kill me with a Gyro Ball. I can't just send in Medicham. Xurkitree... Xurkitree is not actually that good in this matchup. Like, I don't know if this is especially defensive Heatran or not, but if it is, that's not great. It is good for the, it's good for its Choice Scarf, though, I guess. Just trying to think. Like, I don't want to sack Nidoking. Nidoking's too useful still, I think. Tapu Lele is too useful still. Like, I think Gyro Ball will just kill Medicham. I guess I could look into it. Let's see. Medicham versus Ferrothorn with, like, Gyro Ball. We'll do, like, quite a bit. Not as much since Medicham regular has lower speed, thankfully. We have the HP Fire. Ugh. This is such a hard turn. I wish that my Milotic was somehow slower than Ferrothorn, but it's just not. Okay, well, no matter what, we're flip turning. Oh boy, we did big damage. We did 1% through Reflect. I am under the impression that Medicham is more useful than Xurkitree in this matchup. The only thing that Xurkitree is, like, very good against is Fizzy Pop here. So we're gonna send in Xurkitree to die. Thankfully we're not that fast, so if we did use... Okay, it's just going for more hazards. That's honestly fine though, and there goes the Reflect. I mean, I'll just click Hidden Power. If my opponent wants to send in Heatran, I guess that's okay. We'll just go back into Milotic. Like, I guess the thing now is that my opponent's heavy hazard stacking, so my switch-ins until I can get Ribombee in are doing lots of damage now. But I just need a... I need a sack, basically. Once I can sack something, then I can bring Ribombee in. It's just hard finding the right thing to sack for that to happen, you know? I was kind of hoping the Xurkitree might just catch a Power Whip or something on the switch here, but that wasn't the case. My opponent's thinking about it too hard. Oh, he did not switch out. Okay, fantastic. So he's gonna switch into Heatran now, right? He's kinda got to. I mean, I guess he doesn't kinda got to. We see now that Gyro Ball is a thing. Yeah, this is tough. Just because if he doesn't have a grass move, then my low take is actually a pretty safe switch. But since we don't have Ice Beam, we can't touch it. Honestly, just sacking Xurkitree off is still kind of our best option. I'm just gonna click HP Fire again. Okay, here comes the Garchomp. Okay, this is actually really good because yes, if Garchomp comes in, if we move first, then it's not Scarfed. If Garchomp moves first, then it is Scarfed. I want to try and sack something anyways. So this is like a win-win no matter what, because then if he's not faster, we'll get a little bit more damage and we can send Ribombee in to defog next turn. But if he is faster, then we can see what move he's locked into and pick our switch based on that. So I'm just going to stay in and Hidden Power again. This will be where Xurkitree goes down. Okay, confirmed, not Scarf. Perfect. Okay, that's great. So Garchomp takes out Xurkitree. Okay, that was actually a fantastic move. Because like I said, I was trying to sack off Xurkitree anyways. So that works out fantastically. So Ribombee is 10 out of 10 faster. We have our heavy duty boots, so we're not going to take a bunch of damage. I'm just going to click defog. We need all of these hazards the heck out of our side of the field here. Here comes the Ferrothorn. So the thing that sucks here is that U-turn's not going to be able to kill a Ferrothorn. I mean, there's no way, right? Okay, Ferrothorn's still pulled up on the damage calc here. Let me just look at this really quickly. Ribombee living its best life. A max roll might kill, but that depends on how many defensive Vs he has. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So we're going to Sticky Web, I guess. Leech Seed, perfect. Now we will U-turn into... Gosh, I don't know. U-turn into something though. Because we need Ribombee healthy in case he starts setting hazards up again. So let's go ahead and just U-turn into something. That did 8%, so it might not be a super especially defensive set, honestly. We've seen Gyro Ball. Nidoking is still incredibly useful, especially now that Sticky Web is down. I'm going into Medicham. It would suck if Medicham just dies, but like of the options here, it's the safest switch kind of. Milotic would be very safe, but it can't do anything to Ferrothorn as I've already established. So we're going into Medi here. Stealth Rock, that's fun. Okay, so we're gonna Mega Evolve, and I'm just going to click Drain Punch in case my opponent wants to protect, basically. No need to risk a high jump kick. There's just absolutely no reason for it. So we're going for Drain Punch. Okay, we'll get the KO on Ferrothorn. Great. Mega Medicham takes out Ferrothorn. Here's the Mawile, and it did get its Intimidate off on us. So that means that we're not going to be able to do too much damage to it. So I want to see how much we do to it, just as is though. So if we have Mega Medicham out, we need to go to this mouse for this monitor. We have Medicham, we're going Mega versus Mega Mawile. I jump kick theoretically just KOs. So here's what I think we do here. My opponent only has one priority user on their team now, which is this Mawile. I think we just hard switch in Tapu Lele here to take away its Sucker Punch. If Lele goes down, that's okay, because we don't need Lele to kill anything. In fact, Lele is kind of useless in this matchup. So let's just get our Psychic Surge up and try and sack Lele, honestly. I don't think Mawile gets Pursuit. I'll be very sad if it does. I know it gets Sucker Punch, though. So we're going Lele. Okay, he's just gonna Mega. He's gonna go for the Swords Dance. That's perfect. We get our Hidden Power Fire off now. You chunk it. It'll Iron Head us to death. That's fun. Okay, so now we have 3 turns to dispose of Mawile before it can start Sucker Punching us to death, basically. Okay, so Mega Mawile takes out Tapu Lele. So what's the smartest way to go about this? I can't use priority. I think that Nidoking can basically just clean up here. I think that Nidoking basically just cleans up here. So I think I'll go into him now. We can just click Earth Power with impunity, basically. There's no reason not to just go Nidoking. We take a little bit of damage from Stealth Rocks, and we just click Earth Power a bunch of times. Unless my opponent has something fancy. I think this is game, maybe? We'll have to see. Can't start counting. What's the phrase? You don't count your eggs until they hatch? Yeah. We're not counting our eggs. But just from what I'm looking at on my opponent's team, just looking at my opponent's team, nothing can take an Earth Power, and my opponent can't Sucker Punch right now. And we have Sticky Webs out, so Garchomp will be slow when it comes in, and we've already established that Garchomp is not Choice Scarf because Circuitry was faster than it. So that doesn't rule out the possibility of like Heatran or Volcanion being Choice Scarf, but I think Nidoking is faster than them base. So Nidoking takes out Mega Mawile. We'll see how it goes though. Mega Mawile. Okay, here comes the Heatran. It does get stuck in the sticky web. I'm just gonna go for Earth Power. It could be Focus Sash. That's a risk that we're gonna have to take. It is not Focus Sashed. Nidoking takes out Heatran. Here's the Garchomp. We click Ice Beam. And here's Volcanion. We click Earth Power. Oh, that was a tense match. That was a tense match. I mean, it looked easy, but we had to make some hard decisions there. Especially with our sacks. Like, sacking Circuitry when we did, and sacking Tapu Lele when we did, were both completely essential to this victory. We got key scouting information out of Circuitry. We shut down Mawile's Sucker Punches with Tapu Lele. That was a good battle. Good game, Taco. It's always a joy to battle you. And with that, we have locked ourselves into the playoffs. Yeah, so this will not be the last battle. I don't know who our first week playoffs opponent will be yet, but we will be back next week with another LSBA battle. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!